Hey guys, it's Angelo, and welcome to my Marksmanship Hunter Guide for WoW's patch 7.2.5. The Hunter has experienced various changes this patch, but most are fairly positive and allow for smoother and less punishing gameplay, which comes in favor of all marksmen throughout the game. Overall, the Marksman seems to become a very promising spec for the Tomb of Sargeras, as the already solid and viable spec is now being made even more so. In this guide, we'll be covering what has changed overall, stat priorities, rotations, what legendaries to use, and of course your talents, and anything else that is relevant to your success. Now, of course, without any further ado, my friends, let's go right ahead and have a look. Now let's start us off with the stat priorities. When looking at what stats you should be going for, nothing has actually changed since the previous patch. As with any other class and spec, the only real change is that there are more stats in the game now, meaning that different breakpoints are far easier to reach, therefore different stats will begin to have either more of an impact on your gameplay or less of an impact. For the Marksman, there are no real breakpoints currently, as the breakpoint of 9% haste is basically reached by simply wearing items at this point, so you can just go for your stat priority without paying much regard to any crucial external factors. Mastery should still be the stat you aim for, followed by critical strike, then haste, and then versatility. Agility will be on every item either way, and since it is currently not your best stat, you shouldn't really prioritize your gear simply upon the fact of having as much agility as possible. For reference, Mastery increases the range of all of your abilities, as well as increasing the damage of your focus spending abilities by a flat percentage, so your marked shot, your aimed shot, your wind burst, and yes, even your bursting shot. Critical strike gives you extra effectiveness on your attacks, while haste lowers your cooldown, allowing for more damage in a shorter amount of time, very specifically allowing for more aimed shots in a given vulnerable window, but more on that later of course. As breakpoints in form of hard or soft caps are not directly present in the Marksman, this also gives you a lot more simple and open options when it comes to your choice with trinkets, and whether or not to use on-use trinkets, proc trinkets, or stat sticks. With a new patch comes a new combination of legendary items for us marksmen, but all in all, the hierarchy of our legendaries hasn't really changed. The boots are still exceptionally superior, and the belt is still incredibly strong on any multi-target fight where multi-shot finds its proper use. The gloves are still superior in single-target fights, and all other legendaries are relatively on par when it comes to DPS gains you achieve from them, including the ring, or are rather normal compared to the three legendaries I had just mentioned. The new legendaries are both pretty interesting. Celerity of the Windrunners, which is the new legendary cloak, grants you 15% more haste for 6 seconds whenever you use Wind Burst. This legendary will go pretty well with your new tier 24 set bonus, as that grants you 15% more critical strike damage for the next 6 seconds whenever you cast 2 aimed shots in a row. The new legendary ring, Soul of the Huntmaster, allows the use of lock and load as a talent in combination with one of the other 2 talents in that row, so either Black Arrow or True Aim. I personally cannot see this legendary being overly strong, as True Aim and Lock and Load don't really go well with each other except in a single target scenario. Keep in mind that the True Aim buff is nullified whenever your aimed shot hits another target, or whenever your arcane shot does so. And Black Arrow is once more a single target heavy talent, which essentially goes against what Lock and Load does best, which is granting you free aim shots to ricochet onto multiple targets to make use of your trick shot. Just as in previous patches, the Marksman has a pretty versatile set of talents that we need to discuss, as many different talents have their use in multiple different scenarios. When looking at a regular single target fight, Lone Wolf, True Aim, Patient Sniper, Murder of Crows, and Trick Shot will still be your go-to talent set, putting heavy focus on your aim shots and proper use of your vulnerable windows. When looking at a multi-target fight, you will want to be running Lone Wolf, Lock and Load, Patient Sniper, Volley, and Trick Shot, allowing for more multi-target damage and easier target switching, as True Aim limits your ability to switch a target drastically. Now this build is also great for on-demand bursty AoE damage, as Volley, Trickshot and proper lock and load procs will allow you to do heavy amount of AoE damage in a very short amount of time, which is pretty strong. Now, when looking at a talent set for heavy AoE damage throughout any part of a dungeon or an encounter, you will want to use Explosive Shot and Piercing Shot, as well as Lock and Load and of course Volley. This combination of talents will allow you to do a heavy amount of AoE damage at all times, but will greatly reduce the amount of single target damage as well as cleave damage you are able to do. This talent combination works well in Mythic Plus dungeons, in fact it works very well there, or with boss encounters that spawn a lot of adds all throughout the fight. When looking at the Tome of Sargeras, there aren't really any pure single target encounters for you except for Goroth, so you will most likely find yourself using the regular multi-target trickshot build that is highlighted on the screen most of the time. Your level 45 and level 75 talent rows are honestly completely up to you, but Post Haste and Binding Shot will most likely be the options that are suited the most for almost all situations, but again, that will ultimately come down to you and whatever your group requires of you. When speaking about rotations, your rotation literally does not change compared to previous patches, and a solid marksmanship rotation will still remain in getting as many aim shots into a given vulnerable window as possible. Just as a quick recap for players who have never played a marksman before or for those who have not played him in a while, your attacks have a chance to proc marking targets, which allows you to use Marked Shot on a marked target, exposing its vulnerabilities for the next 6 seconds. Within this time frame, your aim shot will deal significantly more damage, and, if Patient Sniper is used as a talent, will deal more damage the less time you have in your vulnerable time frame. As stated before, this essentially means that you want to fit in your aim shots in that given 6-second window, but also have to juggle arcane shots in this time frame, or multi-shots of course, in order to generate enough focus to dump your aim shots. With the 7.2.5 changes, however, your rotation will be less punishing, as your vulnerable damage increase has been reduced while your aim shot damage has been buffed. This essentially means that you are not forced to hit each and every aim shot within a given vulnerable window if you don't want to use ridiculous, or rather lose ridiculous amounts of DPS. Apart from making things less punishing, this also allows for easier movement, as you are not as reliant on your vulnerable windows, and since you can't move while casting aim shot unless you have the gloves proc, this previously meant that you would seriously need to consider whether or not to risk taking damage but getting an aim shot through, or avoiding damage but therefore losing loads of DPS. Your regular DPS rotation will be shown on the screen now, and use this rotation whenever you use your regular multi-targeted trickshot build. Your single target rotation does not change at all really, and your rotation when using Piercing Shot doesn't really change either. You just use your Piercing Shot whenever you have 100 focus or more, and when it's ready, as well as your Explosive Shot along with it. If those are down and you have a ton of ads in front of you, you simply keep marking targets and then use Marked Shot over and over, while making use of your lock and load procs if they appear, and sticking in a regular aim shot here and there as well. Trueshot, which is your main DPS cooldown, should be used at pull for pretty much every boss fight in the game, and then try to keep it on cooldown. In Mythic Plus dungeons, Trueshot doesn't necessarily have to be used for every boss, but should much rather be used on cooldown in order to burn down larger trash packs along the way. While the cooldown is active, you want to try and squeeze as many aim shots into all vulnerable windows as possible, and you want to end your Trueshot with as little focus as possible so that you know that you have used as many aim shots as you could have. There is no real trick during Trueshot to get the most out of it. As long as you end your Trueshot with a low amount of focus and with as many aim shots spent as possible, you're pretty much doing it right. Keep in mind that the marksman is RNG based, so some Trueshot windows will not see your DPS go up greatly because you don't have a lot of luck on your crits, and that is perfectly fine. Also, try starting every Trueshot phase with a full bar of focus, and optimally start it with a wind burst. Your optimal rotation for a Trueshot phase should look as follows. Wind Burst, then activate Trueshot while the arrow of the Wind Burst is still flying, then Aim Shot, then Arcane Shot, then Aim Shot, then Arcane Shot again, and then hit 3 aim shots back to back to back. refill your focus with arcane shots and repeat the process once more. You will end your Trueshot then with no focus, so you build up with arcane shots again and continue your regular rotation. Overall, the Marksman seems very promising with patch 7.2.5. The changes that have been made are all very beneficial to the class and will result in a damage increase for untrained marksmen, but effectively bring little to no change to experienced players of the spec. Your gameplay still evolves around your vulnerable windows, which is something I personally don't like, but the fact that you won't be punished as badly if you can't work around it now relieves a lot of unnecessary pressure from the player, which is most certainly a very good thing. It'll be exciting to see how well the Marksman does compared to the Beastmaster and the Survival Hunter, as all three specs currently seem pretty strong. Should anything change, I will be sure to let you know, but for now, playing a Marksman should offer you fun, solid, and very exciting gameplay. As always, thank you so much for watching, my friends, and if this guide helped you in any way, please leave a like, and if you want to see more of my content in the future, be sure to subscribe. Now have a good one, and I will see you all in the next one.
Lifetime in repeat.